You know, most action movies are exciting. Some are even really intense, but a few feel completely unstable. Like the world inside of it not make it. Like the violence is much more than just spectacle, like it's something heavier, scarier even. And the 80s made a lot of action movies just like this. So today, we're going to count down 10 action movies that felt genuinely dangerous. So pop that tape in. I got you. Let's go do this. Alright, so action movies that actually felt dangerous. This isn't about body count necessarily. It's not about sleaze or babes or bullets. It's not even about blowing up the biggest building. This is about tone, atmosphere, and that feeling in your stomach when you realize this movie isn't playing. The 80s were great for this, and I have 10 of them right here. Silent Rage from 1982. Now listen, Silent Rage is one of the wildest hybrids of the decade. And on paper, you look at it and it's a Chuck Norris action movie. But in practice, it is almost a slasher film. The story follows a psychotic killer who survives brutal police shootout and is secretly given an experimental medical treatment that makes him nearly impossible to kill. So now you've got a man who can survive gunshots, fights, blunt force trauma, almost anything. Very Michael Myers with this character. And the only time that you can get anyone to even stand up to him a little bit is with a small town sheriff played by Chuck Norris. The movie has a tone that makes it feel like a horror. It feels dangerous from start to finish. The killer isn't loud. He's clinical. He's cold, almost evil and methodical, and he just keeps coming. Again, he might as well be Michael Myers or Jason from Friday the 13th because that's the feel you get here. And because the movie sits halfway between action and horror, the normal genre rules kind of disappear, and when the audience stops knowing what rules the movie is playing by, suddenly every scene carries much more tension, and that makes Silent Rage feel very, very dangerous. And then there is Red Dawn from 1984. Red Dawn feels dangerous because it doesn't treat an invasion like fantasy. It treats it like trauma, like World War III is really starting and it feels way too real of what it would be like. The movie opens on a quiet Colorado town where a group of high school students in school suddenly watch Soviet paratroopers drop out of the sky onto their football field, into the front of their school building, and within minutes, they are shooting students, executing teachers. The town is overrun. The kids barely escape into the mountains, and from that moment on, the movie becomes a brutal war survival story. These teenagers form a guerrilla resistance group, the Wolverines, trying to fight an occupying army with almost no resources. These kids are cold, they're hungry, they're terrified, they don't know how their families are, some of them have lost their parents, and the movie doesn't pretend they're superheroes. People die, friends disappear, they betray each other, turn on each other. Entire towns are turned into re-education camps. For a mainstream 80s action movie, that's heavy material. Of course, you've got John Milius behind it, so that makes sense, but watching it as a kid, it didn't feel triumphant, at least not at the beginning, until the Wolverines started helping to turn the tide. It felt intense, like the safety net was gone, and this was real action the way it would really happen, and that makes it feel really dangerous. And if you think that tone is dark, wait until we get to an action movie that turns the entire environment into a living nightmare.
The bayous of Louisiana. The National Guard on weekend maneuvers. There's only one problem. They've crossed a boundary into a territory where they don't belong.
Southern Comfort from 1981 is one of the most quietly terrifying action movies of the entire decade. Directed by great director Walter Hill, the film follows a group of National Guardsmen who are running training exercises in the Louisiana bayou, and at first this seems completely routine, just soldiers blowing off steam during a field exercise. But when they accidentally provoke a group of local Cajun hunters, people that live off the grid on the fringes of society, everything begins to spiral out of control. The soldiers become lost deep in the swamp. They have no real ammunition, no real way to protect themselves. They can't communicate with the outside world or even with each other if they get separated. They don't know who is hunting them and from where. And the deeper they go into the bayou, the more paranoid they become. Gunshots echo throughout the trees. Figures move through the fog. The men begin to turn on each other. This is very much a folk horror film that starts out as action. And what makes Southern Comfort feel so dangerous is that complete lack of control, the lack of boundaries, the enemy you can't see, the people falling apart, the horror of being lost in these elements, but so close to safety with no clear plan of how to get out. And they just slowly descend into more mistrust, loss of life, and hopelessness until there's no way out of the bayou. Southern Comfort, folk horror at its heart, definitely action, definitely dangerous. And then there's one that you might not think of when you think of dangerous because it's remembered for its chemistry, and that is 1987's Lethal Weapon. Riggs, Murtaugh, buddy cop, action comedy, that's what people think when they start thinking about it and they think about the sequels. But the original movie is much darker than people remember. Martin Riggs is not stable. He is not mentally well at all. He's a Vietnam veteran who's suffering from severe trauma and deep, deep depression after the war and the loss of his wife. There's a famous scene early in the movie where he contemplates no longer being here anymore, and he's alone, breaking down, crying, and he is on the edge. And that instability changes how every action scene plays from that point on. He provokes violence because he doesn't care about life anymore. He escalates situations because he doesn't care about his life. He pushes criminals to the edge, almost secretly hoping they take him out. Meanwhile, the villains are a network of ex-mercenaries who are ruthless and organized. There are torture scenes, electrocutions, drug trafficking, an entire movie that carries this sense of a situation that could spiral out of control at any moment, and that volatility is held all the way through, and it's just balanced on an edge of a knife by Murtaugh and his family pulling Riggs back from the edge. Much darker and much more on the edge and dangerous than you remember is Lethal Weapon. And then there is RoboCop from 1987. This story follows Detroit officer Alex Murphy, who is brutally murdered by a gang of criminals, then rebuilt as a corporate law enforcement cyborg. So RoboCop crosses the line into dangerous and dark almost immediately, and the movie doesn't treat its premise lightly at all. You got Paul Verhoeven behind here, who is no stranger to excess when it comes to movies. Murphy's death is early, it's shocking, it's violent, it's not heroic at all, it's not stylized, it is completely brutal. And then the movie doubles down instead of letting you out of it. You get the ED 209 boardroom scene where a corporate security robot malfunctions and absolutely shreds an executive in front of a room full of businessmen and women. The entire world of RoboCop feels dystopian, broken, scary to even think about living in. Corporations control law enforcement. Crime is everywhere. Human life is expendable. You'll buy that for $1. And in that cynical, almost dystopian tone makes the movie feel genuinely dangerous, even with the double helpings of satire on top. RoboCop is a very dangerous film. And I hope you are ready, because we are just midway through the list, and trust me, the top 5 actually get even darker and more dangerous. And that deep, dark energy starts with James Cameron's Aliens, which is his sequel and follow-up to the hit, dark, scary movie Alien. This movie starts out like a power fantasy. You feel like it's got this whole other action energy to it. You've got Ripley, who returns to an alien-infested colony with a squad of very arrogant, over-the-top, too self-assured Marines, and these soldiers are way confident to the point of cocky, and you feel the danger when they're so cocky. It already starts to settle in because you know what's coming. Despite it being loaded with futuristic weapons, they walk into a colony expecting a routine extermination mission, and within minutes, everything collapses. All the danger that you felt, that Ripley warned them about, starts to materialize, and they have no idea how to handle it. Motion trackers start beeping. The Marines realize they're surrounded. Aliens attack from every direction. The command structure breaks down. The dropship crashes, and suddenly an entire mission turns into a desperate fight for survival. And what makes Aliens feels dangerous is how quickly that control disappears, and you as the audience, having seen the original movie Alien and listening to Ripley and knowing she is right, you felt it coming, you were waiting on it. And now it is like this unstoppable force that has arrived, and you're just trying to hold on tight and survive right along with them. The whole thing feels dangerous from beginning to the end because you know the stakes, just like Ripley, and they don't. Aliens had to be here. And you cannot possibly do a list like this without 1984's The Terminator. Before the catchphrases, before the blockbuster sequels, The Terminator was a horror action movie. That's what it was. The story is simple, relentless, and terrifying. A cyborg assassin from the future is sent back in time to kill Sarah Connor before she can give birth to the future leader of the human resistance. And once the Terminator starts hunting, he does not stop. Police stations cannot protect you. Police can't protect you. Guns can't protect you. Nothing can protect you. All the institutions that we rely on for safety and security fail. Entire buildings get torn apart. The Terminator doesn't taunt. He doesn't explain. He doesn't give you a chance to talk your way out of it. He just relentlessly comes for you and eliminates everything in his path on a mission to eliminate you. That relentless inevitability makes the movie feel genuinely frightening. Much more horror than just action, but it's action wrapped up in nightmare fuel. The Terminator comes in at number 4. And then at number 3 is one that I've talked about a few times recently, but it completely fits. It's 1986's Cobra. Now, this is a Cannon Films doing what's right and investigating crimes outside of the normal methods. He's part of the Zombie Squad, a special forces unit. This with sort of, he's almost just one step above the criminals himself. Like Knives, like a slasher horror. It is basically a slasher horror film. This movie feels grimy, wet, even though it has all this neon lighting juxtaposed chaos, and only people like Cobra stand between that chaos taking over our whole world and turning it into the dystopian society that you would have seen from Falling Apart. And it's balanced on the edge of a knife, and that makes it feel very dangerous. All of these movies fit this category, but the top two, for very different reasons, are very unsettling and dangerous, and one of them takes one of the most powerful characters imaginable and drops him into a situation where safety and survival is not guaranteed. At number 2, we have 1987's Predator. Predator starts like a typical 80s action movie. An elite team of commandos with their big powerful handshakes drops right into a jungle mission, and these guys are the best of the best of the best. They eat a lot of protein, they lift a lot of weights, they're heavily armed, heavily trained, totally confident, makes Cambodia look like Kansas. But they do not care because they're not worried about being in a world of hurt. They don't even have time to bleed. They have all the sayings, they have all the toughness, they have everything they need. They're totally confident, and then they realize something bigger and badder is hunting them. And one by one, the team starts disappearing. The jungle becomes silent, oppressive, terrifying, and they're really in the jungle, so you buy it. The soldiers slowly realize they are not the hunters, they are the prey. Predator strips away the dominance of even people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, and once they do that, the balance of power shifts and the movie becomes pure survival horror and has a giant creature out there, and everything that you know about Arnold Schwarzenegger movies and action films is turned upside down and thrown out the window, and that makes Predator very dangerous and very entertaining. It comes in at number 2. And finally, maybe one that you wouldn't expect to top this list, but I promise you, 1985's To Live and Die in L.A. by William Friedkin deserves to be here. William Friedkin's To Live and Die in L.A. feels dangerous because it does not play by any movie rules. It refuses to. The story follows a reckless Secret Service agent hunting a brilliant counterfeiter in Los Angeles, but the hero himself is morally compromised. He's impulsive, he's obsessive, and the deeper he gets into the case, the more reckless sort of his actions become. And the movie builds tension through one of the most chaotic car chases ever filmed. The movie then just keeps escalating from that point. And when the end finally arrives, it doesn't deliver a heroic payoff. It delivers consequences. Cold, abrupt, unapologetic, and that's ultimately a huge just leap in the danger of storytelling like this. When a movie refuses to protect your expectations and doesn't subvert them for subversion's sake and does it within the context of a story, and it right hand punches you and you don't see it coming and it just leaves you shocked and awed, that is danger in a whole other level. You get that with To Live and Die in L.A. by William Friedkin, and for that reason, it comes in at number 1. Listen, 80s action movies felt dangerous because they were unstable. All right, they felt like anything could happen. The tone wasn't calibrated, the heroes weren't insulated, and the stories never promised safety. And when the movie operates without those guardrails, without those check boxes, you feel it. That unpredictability, that edge, that's not nostalgia. That is danger. And if you want to see where that danger really came from, wait till you see another list I have coming of movies that push things even further. I'm telling you, the 80s for action movies and the 90s set alone when it comes to filmmaking in this type. And so we're going to pop a tape back in here soon and see some more. And if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And if you enjoyed this and want to help support us even more, my Patreon link is always in the description. You'll get your name in lights when you join the Patreon on every single video, behind the scenes looks at my filmmaking, special members only videos, and so much more. And everything helps this channel, and I really do appreciate it. But until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.